Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and big thank you to Dov for this amazing event. Big yasher koach, kol hakavod. Really hope it helps everybody in the way that they, excuse me, are looking to be helped. Excuse me. I have a bit of a cold, so please forgive me. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Debbie Goldfischer. I was Debbie Toledano, grew up in London, Northwest London, 24 years. Came to Israel in 1999, did a slight detour via Teaneck, New Jersey for 2 years. And I live with my family, thank God, in Modiin in Israel. We came with one little baby. Thank God we now have 5 children, son and a son-in-law in the army. And thank God this work keeps me very busy and takes my mind off of things, and gives me a lot of meaning in my life, helping people to hopefully make their way home to Israel. With that, I'd like to share a screen on, I'm not very good at this, I'm sorry, 1 second, on Modiin. Okay, do you see this? Dov kindly gave me, do you see this, everyone? Do you see my screen?
Now we do, yes.
Okay, great. Dov gave me 15 minutes, so I've got 15 slides in 15 minutes. Forgive me if I speak too fast. I'm all about education. I work as a real estate agent, but I do not show homes or houses or anything until people really understand the area, the neighborhood, the buying process, and lots more. So I'm not going to go into the buying process. That's not my role today, but I'm going to give you an introduction to Modiin. For those of you that have been to Modiin, it's an amazing city, and I'll explain to you in a minute why. And now, 1 second. Okay, first of all, a little bit about the history. Modiin is actually called Modiin Maccabim Rayut. It is a city that was merged with 2 smaller towns. Originally, Maccabim was founded in 1985 by a group of from the Maccabi organization. And then Rayut was another little town that was established by some former army personnel. And in 1993, the modern city of Modiin was the construction started, the cornerstone was laid, and the city of Modiin is named after the ancient Jewish town of Modiin, which is where the Maccabees actually came from. In 1996, the city was opened and the first residents moved in. And in 2003, after quite a lot of controversy, there was the unification of Maccabim and Rayut to Modiin. So today, the city is called Modiin Maccabim Rayut, and for all intents and purposes, it is one city. If you look at a map of Israel, if you put your finger in the middle of the map, you will come very, very close to Modiin. It is extremely well located, very central in the country, 22 miles south of Tel Aviv, 19 miles west of Yerushalayim. It is within the Green Line, very, very well positioned, very accessible by roads. You've got the 431 that goes towards Bat Yam, Tel Aviv. You've got the Highway 3 that goes down south, 443 that takes you from Yerushalayim all the way to Tel Aviv. The Highway 1 goes from south to north, and Route 6, which also can take you all the way up north. You have 2 train stations. Here in the picture, you can see Modiin Merkaz, the central station, and you have Patei Modiin, which is on the western outskirts of the city. You have intercity and local bus services and bicycle paths. It's an extremely convenient city to live in, both to get outside of the city and within the city. There's barely any traffic, and I'll explain to you in a minute why. So first of all, the climate, it's Mediterranean climate. I'm not going to lie to you, it gets hot, but it's not on the beach. It's not as clammy, as humid as let's say Ra'anana or Netanya would be. You have dry summers. It reaches about 90 degrees. The winters are mild. I went to shul yesterday without even wearing a coat. Thank God we do have rain. We need the rain, and we thank Hashem for the rain. This picture was taken a couple of years ago in Modiin by a good friend of mine who's a photographer. She grabbed the picture after a crazy storm, and you can see this was after a storm. This is typical, no, I wouldn't say a typical, but this is a winter's day. Very quiet city, not that much noise. Obviously, in some areas where there's more action going on, it's noisier, but it's a really quiet and calm kind of place to be. And as I said, very little traffic going on. Neighborhoods and planning. So first of all, the city is a planned city. It's until recently, I could say it was the youngest city in the country, but actually Harish, which was established a city a couple of years ago during Corona, is now the newest city. But because it's so new and so young, it's very, very well planned. Unlike older cities where, city planning was just not as advanced as it is today. Excuse me, it's been planned with very high standards. The city plans offer a total of 240,000 residents. Today, we have about 110. We're almost at the halfway mark. We have a lot of environmental issues and future growth have been taken into consideration in the planning of the city. The city is about 50% green, tons of parks and spaces and open areas. And the way that it's planned, I'm going to come into the neighborhoods in a minute, but the neighborhoods are all built around a city center. And every neighborhood has its own little local, we call Merkaz Meskhari, like a local shopping area. So everything is very convenient, and neighborhoods are somewhat self-sufficient. You have the Kupat Cholim, the little medical clinics, you have little supermarkets, dry cleaners, pizza shops, that sort of thing for the day-to-day living. And then the bigger shopping, like the more supermarket shoppings, are on the outskirts of the city. You have two industrial areas, one called in Shelat. If I use my mouse, maybe you'll see one is Shelat, and another one it is in Yushpur Center, which is on the western side of the city. And you have also a lot of industrial and logistical centers now. A lot of work and employment has been created in these areas. And as I said, the city is planned, but it's still not completed. There's a lot more going on. Further development is happening all the time, in particular into the infrastructure, the transportation, the education, health services, and much, much more. And there's already urban renewal projects going on to renew the older parts of the city. If you look on the right side, we have the names of the neighborhoods. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's very nice how every neighborhood has a theme. Just take, for example, Hashvatim is the tribes, and all the streets in that neighborhood are the tribes of Israel. If you take, for example, where is it? Hatziporim, it's names of it's the birds, and every street is a name of birds. Nofim, the names of the views in Israel. So you have all these neighborhoods. I'm not going to read them out, but you can see for yourself. Okay. Demographics. So as I said, we have about 110,000 residents. We're almost at the halfway mark. We have a very high socioeconomic level, rated at 8 on a scale from 1 to 10. A lot of the residents, the majority of the residents, have come from major cities like Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and other cities in the center of the country. The average citizen today in 2024 is 36 years old, educated, professional, married, Jewish, and Israeli born. Approximately 12% of residents are new immigrants, mainly from the United States, from England, France, and the former Soviet Union. 65%, there's a very high percentage of adult residents are university graduates, and the rest of those adults are actually high school graduates. So they're not even, most of them cannot even have been graduates yet. And 80% of the residents own their own home. This is a picture that was taken a few years ago with Chaim Bibas, who is the Rosh Ha'ir, the mayor of the city, with a bunch of new immigrants. Employment. So, excuse me, most people in the city work in engineering, tech professions, medicine, high tech, economics, education, and senior positions in the army. There's a very high percentage, in particular in Rayut, which I mentioned was founded by army personnel. a very high percentage of senior, high profile people in the army living in Modiin, and also in the Mossad. We have Yossi Cohen actually living in Buchman. Many residents work outside of Modiin in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, and in high-tech hubs. Today, since Corona, a lot of people work in a hybrid form. They work part outside and part at home. And as I said, there's a rapidly growing local job market, in particular because of the new logistical areas and office buildings that are being built. I just took a little snapshot on your left. You can see the jobs that are available today on LinkedIn that are in the Modiin area. This is just a small sample of them. Shopping and amenities. Modiin is an amazing, convenient city. You don't have to leave the city if you don't want to. You have everything you need there, like from shopping and medical services, excuse me, gyms, hospitals, I'll come to in a second. You have swimming pools and running tracks. You have loads of shops. You have a mall, Azrieli Mall. And you have, as I mentioned earlier, every neighborhood has its own little shopping area. So you really have tons and tons of stuff that you need. The only things that you have to leave for, obviously, if you want to leave, you can, sometimes like to get out a little bit. But the only thing you have to leave for is, God forbid, for a hospital, you have to go either to Yerushalayim or Rishon LeZion or Tel Aviv. But there are plans to build a hospital as the population grows. And I believe it's going to be within the next 10 to 15 years they're going to build. And sometimes for specialty medical services that they don't have here. But truthfully, over the years, I've lived here now 20 years, in fact, 20 years this year. And really, there's almost no need to leave. And God forbid, we shouldn't have to leave for medical services. Religious life. So Modiin is known to be a mixed city. And I'm running out of time. It's a mixed city, and you have everything, every denomination along the spectrum. And that's the beauty of it. Everybody lives together. You have shuls, you have youth groups, you have schools that are all, every denomination. Sorry, I'm going to rush real quickly. For education, you have, all the different choices. They're going to be building a university, and there's all pan options. Culture, I'm sorry, I'm going to go real fast. You have cinemas, you have theaters, and you have a museum and retirement living. There is an old age home. There is Azrieli Palace. There's another one being built called Admer Vesrim Shana. There are long-term rentals, and there's lots of activities for the elderly. In terms of homes, you have everything from detached and semi-detached houses. You have duplexes and apartments. You have different characters in different neighborhoods. Each neighborhood was planned in a different style, and also obviously depending on the age of the neighborhood, you see more modern trends in the newer neighborhoods. Generally,
60 seconds.
Low-rise buildings, and okay, real quickly, the property market. You can see for yourselves here a range of prices, but I'm telling you now, this is a very average prices. Depends so much on the neighborhood, on the type of home, on the age of the home, if you're buying secondhand or new. And obviously for that, you have to be in touch with me. I'm very happy to give you more information, to give you a tour, to give you another Zoom session. And I wish everybody the best of luck, and please God, you should all find your way home. Bezrat Hashem. Thank you, Dov. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you, Debbie. We're